We've all been there. You're having a great time at a party, and then it happens. You spot your ex. Suddenly, the music fades out, the atmosphere shifts, and your heart starts racing. What do? Do you pretend you didn't see them? Do you act like everything is fine and wave enthusiastically? Or do you get cold feet and retreat into the corner? In many African cultures, relationships are often seen through a lens of family, tradition, and social respect. So what happens when you encounter your ex at a party where everyone knows both of you? How do you handle it without causing drama or awkwardness? Let's take a deep dive into how Africans navigate this situation in a way that mixes humor, grace, and cultural awareness. 1. The stiff smile and nod, the politely awkward moment. One of the most common reactions when spotting an ex at a party in Africa is the stiff smile and nod. This is the universal, I'm trying to avoid any confrontation move. But in African culture, it's often combined with a level of formality that reflects respect. In African communities, respect for elders, family, and others is paramount. So when you encounter an ex at a social gathering, especially one with mutual friends, family, or community members, it's important to maintain your dignity. The stiff smile says it all. You might exchange a few words, but the conversation is brief and polite. Example scenario. You spot your ex from across the room. Your heart rate spikes for a second, but you quickly compose yourself. With a deep breath, you smile politely and nod. Hey, how have you been? You ask in a calm voice. There's no room for drama or negativity here. Just a quick acknowledgement that says, I see you, and I'm moving on. This scenario is common in African settings, where mutual respect and maturity play key roles in handling public appearances. No one wants to start a scene, so a simple and respectful nod suffices. 2. The We Are Just Friends act. Over-the-top friendliness. In many African cultures, maintaining friendships after a breakup is somewhat common, especially when the split was amicable. As a result, you'll often see people go all out with over-the-top friendliness when encountering an ex at a party. The goal here is to make it clear to everyone, including your ex, that there are no hard feelings and you are totally fine with being around each other. In these situations, the We Are Just Friends act becomes a way to prove that both parties have healed and can interact as mature, civilized individuals. Charges. Example scenario. You see your ex from a distance and immediately make your way over, smiling and waving. Oh my God, it's been so long, how are you? You exclaim. You may even give them a friendly hug, and then both of you start talking like nothing ever happened. The conversations are lighthearted, but there's a constant undercurrent of tension that only the two of you are aware of. But hey, it's all about keeping up appearances, right? This over-the-top friendliness is often done to show others that you're not bitter and that you're a mature adult who can still maintain cordial relations with someone who was once very close. 3. The social media reconciliation. Public display of moving on. In some African settings, there's a strong emphasis on public reputation, especially in tightly knit communities. Social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter have created new ways for exes to interact in public spaces, especially if they meet at a party or event. Often, the encounter is followed by a public display of moving on, sharing happy posts and photos together with friends, often tagging each other in light-hearted ways to prove that you're both doing just fine. This can sometimes feel a bit too theatrical, but in many African communities, showing others that you're handling the breakup with maturity and dignity is a way of maintaining your reputation. Example scenario. You bump into your ex, and after a brief interaction, you both start taking group pictures with mutual friends. You post one on Instagram with the caption, "Good vibes only," #squad goals, #moving on. You tag your ex in the post, and they do the same. While the photos are harmless, they speak volumes to your followers that there's no bad blood between you two. This form of reconciliation through social media may sometimes be a way to ease any tension in the air and avoid gossip or rumors, especially if your breakup was highly public or emotional. It's a subtle way of saying, "We're cool, don't worry about it." Chapter 4. The subtle ignore, pretending they don't exist. Another common African way of handling an encounter with an ex at a party is simply ignoring them. Depending on the nature of the breakup and the amount of bad blood between the two individuals, some prefer to just act like they don't exist. In many cases, this is the safest option when you want to avoid awkwardness or confrontation. Plus, in some African cultures, direct confrontation or confrontation in public can be seen as disrespectful or overly dramatic. When you spot your ex, you may look the other way, focus on talking to other people, or even take a sudden trip to the bathroom just to avoid the situation. There's a sense of pride in not letting an ex disrupt your evening, and ignoring them becomes a form of self-control. Example scenario. You walk into the party and immediately spot your ex in the corner of the room. Instead of acknowledging them, you make eye contact with a friend across the room and head over in that direction. Your ex's presence is clearly felt, but you keep your cool and avoid any interaction. You're here to enjoy yourself, and they're a part of your past, so you act like they're not even there. This option works particularly well if you've moved on and don't want to get involved in unnecessary drama or awkward interactions. 5. The let's have a heart-to-heart moment, emotional confrontation. Sometimes the situation calls for a deeper and more emotional interaction. In African culture, especially among younger generations, there's a tendency to have more open and honest conversations about emotions, even if they can be uncomfortable. A party is not just a time to enjoy yourself, but also an opportunity for closure. The let's have a heart-to-heart approach is for those who want to clear the air, heal old wounds, and create a sense of peace. This kind of interaction usually involves the two ex-partners sitting down and talking privately, or in a low-key, neutral corner of the party venue. Example scenario. After a few minutes of awkwardness, you and your ex finally find a moment to sit down. You both exchange polite greetings, but then the conversation takes a turn. "We need to talk," one of you says. The talk is calm, serious, and often cathartic. You might discuss what went wrong, apologize for the hurt caused, or reflect on the lessons learned. The goal is not to get back together, but to find closure and understand each other better. This kind of confrontation is emotional and sometimes necessary, especially if the breakup was messy or if there's still lingering unresolved feelings. In African communities where family, respect, and reconciliation are vital, having a closure moment can feel like a final step in the healing process. 6. The support of friends and family. The team approach. In African societies, the importance of community cannot be overstated. Often when you spot your ex at a party, you're not alone. You have your friends or family by your side to help you navigate the situation. They act as emotional support and sometimes even as a shield from awkward encounters. They'll distract you, crack jokes, or subtly nudge you away from any potentially uncomfortable confrontations. This team approach is about keeping your composure and ensuring that your reputation is maintained while still having fun. Example scenario. You're at a party with a group of friends, and the moment your ex walks into the room, you feel that tension. One of your friends notices and immediately jumps into the conversation, asking you about your latest travel plans. You're distracted, and the situation passes without a hitch. Your friends or family are always there to make sure you feel supported, which helps take the pressure off any awkward situations with an ex. Seeing your ex at a party is a universally uncomfortable experience, but how you handle it often depends on your cultural background and personal approach. In many African cultures, the key is balance. Maintaining your dignity, showing respect, and finding ways to avoid drama. Whether you choose the stiff smile and nod, the over-the-top "we are just friends" act, or simply ignore them, each response reflects a deep cultural respect for harmony and maturity in social settings. Ultimately, it's important to remember that life goes on after breakups. Whether you choose to engage with your ex or avoid them altogether, the African way emphasizes handling the situation with grace, humor, and an unwavering commitment to peace. If you've ever seen your ex at a party, how did you handle it? Share your experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more relatable content. Until next time, stay peaceful and always keep your composure.